The 2022 Paris-Roubaix and Dylan Van Baarle from Team Ineos Grenadiers won the whole race. On site here in Roubaix at the famous velodrome, and it was a worthy winner because his team lit the race up under sunny conditions, warm, hot day. Ineos Grenadiers at 200 kilometers out in this 250-kilometer race started to blow things apart. All 7 of their riders made and forced this major move in the crosswinds that has 75 riders in the group, including Canadian champion Gregor Brown. That whole thing lit up, and behind, huge favorites were caught out, like Asgreen, like Mathieu van der Poel, like Wout van Aert. That move lasted for around 100 kilometers. We saw Filippo Ganna. He was in the front group with his Ineos teammates. He punctured and the move seemed to be coming into an end, but it lasted. We got to the Arenberg Forest. Everything was blown up, reshuffling, and the game was on. But Ineos Grenadiers, you have to consider they've won all 3 Grand Tours. They've won Milan-San Remo, Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and today they're picking up the queen of the classics. And it's been years of trying to get to this point. The team started in 2010, and Dylan Van Baarle topped it off. But it wasn't him, it was the whole team that put in the effort, including Magnus Sheffield, including Ben Turner, who's been the huge, massive surprise, 21-year-old, riding in his first World Tour season, turning himself inside out for his team leader. And in fact, it paid off because his team leader won. Ben Turner finished off the race in 11th place, so a big day out for Ben Turner as well. Big Ben is what they call him. American teammate Magnus Sheffield, well, he finished the race, but there's a time cut on Paris-Roubaix, so they classified him outside the time limit. Gregor Brown, we spoke to him before and after the race, our Canadian friend and champion. He said he just wasn't as good as he was last year, but still he rode a great race, finishing 62nd. Now we have to consider everything that was going on into the end over the final sectors like Mons-en-Pavel and the Carrefour de l'Arbre, because it was a huge fist fight out there. We saw Matej Mohoric dominating the affair, really racing well. We thought he was going to be the one to win it after winning Milan-San Remo earlier this season, but everything was reshuffling. Everybody was suffering mechanicals one at a time. No one was immune to mechanicals out there. We also saw that massive crash of Yves Lampaert, who seemed to be riding for a podium there with Matej Mohoric. Well, he crashed, hit a fan, knocked himself out of that, and behind that with Mohoric, there was Wout van Aert, Stefan Kung. They joined and they were coming into the peloton. That didn't matter for Dylan Van Baarle, but still he said he wasn't sure of the victory until he crossed the finish line for the first time. They have to do a lap and a half on this famous velodrome, and then he knew he had the victory in his hands. Remember, he finished second behind Mathieu van der Poel just 2-3 weeks ago in the Tour of Flanders. Wout van Aert, Kung, those 2 guys, they finished second and third. It was Kung who let it out first, but then Wout van Aert came around. You have to consider Wout van Aert hadn't been racing for 3 weeks, COVID positive, and pulls off a second place in Paris-Roubaix. Mathieu van der Poel, he seemed to be hiding, looking good all day. We thought he was the man to watch, but instead he seemed to kind of fizzle out, didn't look as great as we thought. Mathieu van der Poel confirmed it after the race in the post-race interviews. But Dylan Van Baarle had that huge rock in his hand, celebrating with the fire shooting out on the podium. It was a cool affair and a massive, great atmosphere. Just the day after the women's race with Elisa Longoborghini celebrating Trek Segafredo, it was Dylan Van Baarle, Ineos Grenadiers in the 2022 Paris-Roubaix.